Howdy folks, Grebner here with Grebner Outdoors. You know I'm up to no good when I got the safari shirt on. Today we're going to be building a dangerous game arrow for a safari that I'm probably never going to have the money to take.
There's 28,
81,
there's 29,
85,
there's 30.
90.
I got a lot more dreams than I got money, and I've got a lot more sense of adventure than I've got good sense. But for the time being, while all that I hunt is whitetail, pretty much, I do eventually want to take dangerous game with a traditional recurve and some safari arrows. Now I have spared you the boredom of watching me crest and fletch this arrow. And by the way, this is an arrow for an 85-pound recurve. So you can use this recipe to replicate for anything between a 75-pound compound bow up to a 90-pound compound bow, generally speaking, if you aren't quite as eccentric and eclectic as me in wanting to use old school tackle and get close to dangerous furry critters. So anyways, we're going to be building a dangerous game arrow. This is a 30¼ inch full metal jacket end fuse by Easton. It is not the dangerous game model. The dangerous game model is a little bit heavier and won't give us the correct weight forward of center ratio that we actually need. This is a 300 grain single beveled werewolf broadhead. It has a 100% steel construction, and as you can see, it is only sharp on one side of each blade. And the reason for that is, not only is this a heavy head that will continue driving forward, when it hits bone, the single bevel design creates torque that will split bone and reduce shaft drag. We also have a footing collar here that was made out of a .500 Easton Game Getter. The purpose of the footing collar is to provide stability in the front of the arrow so that if you hit something very hard in your target, it keeps the end of the arrow compressed with another layer of aluminum. So basically we're building an armor piercing arrow. So first things first, we're going to do some playing with fire. I'm going to be using hot glue or hot stick because I don't want to make this a permanent change. So we're just going to gently heat up the end of the arrow to where the glue will actually stick. You don't want to burn your carbon underneath. And without burning yourself, you're going to apply a hot glue to the end of your arrow. Now we're going to give that a little bit more heat. Turn off our torch and get our footing collar. Now we're going to twist the shaft and work the footing collar down onto the shaft. Next we're going to tear carefully our 300 grain broadhead and our 100 grain brass insert. Fire up our torch once again. Take our knocking point pliers for safety. And we're going to heat this bad boy up. Once we get her good and hot, we're going to take our hot glue again and apply the hot glue to our 100 grain brass insert. Fire up our torch once again. Get our glue nice and soft. And then slide it in to the end of our arrow, heating up gently as we go in and twisting our shaft. Once we've got it all the way down, we're going to heat up our footing, turn off the torch, set it down, make sure that it's fully seated, and then grip this with our knocking pliers and slide it down to where it is flush with the back end of the broadhead. And there you have it. We have assembled a dangerous game arrow. This arrow will come out at just over 800 grains, and it will have about a 23% weight forward of center ratio. Dr. Ashby, who wrote the Ashby reports, Dr. Ashby recommends a 19% weight forward of center ratio. And there we have an 820 grain arrow with a bone splitting single bevel broadhead, a heavy insert, and an armor piercing footing collar. This is honestly a dangerous game arrow. But with that being said, if it'll kill a hippo, if it'll kill a rhino, or kill a water buffalo, that means that it will definitely kill a whitetail. Now, of course, when this cools off all the way, I'm going to take this glue and break it off, and then I'm going to take some emery paper and sand down the back end of this ferrule, or footing I should say. This is actually the ferrule. Sand down the back end so that it has a bevel. Now what this is going to do is not only reinforce our arrow, but give it a tapering effect so that once the arrow penetrates past this point, that there's virtually no shaft drag to impede further penetration. Hopefully this tutorial has been simple enough for you to follow. If not, I can make other videos in the future. Again, this is an Easton Infuse Full Metal Jacket .300, and this arrow gives me 10 grains per pound of draw weight, as close as I can get to where I'm absorbing maximum energy from my bow before I get to a point of diminishing returns. And I have an armor piercing footing, a bone splitting broadhead, and a heavy insert, and this combination gives me a 23% weight forward of center ratio. Now, all I need is enough money to go on safari, and I'm going to be eating some Cape Buffalo steak with the Maasai. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Cam Haynes, you ain't the only one that likes a heavy bow. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please check out my friends over at legallyconcealed.org. Thank you very much to those who've been involved in law enforcement and those who served in the military. And thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors. If it'll kill a rhino, it'll kill a whitetail.